So this is your first appearance on Good Morning Britain since quite a few months, and certainly since allegations about you enhancing your CV, your personal CV, surfaced. That was in November, I think. As it is your first appearance on the programme since that story dropped, I think it's important that we ask you about it. We don't seek to embarrass you, but we'd just quickly like to go through it. It'll take me 20 seconds to summarise it. You told Stylist magazine that you'd worked at the Bank of England for a decade. In fact, it was only 6 years, and one of those years was at the London School of Economics doing a master's course, so that's 5 years and not a decade. And in biographies that you'd actually endorsed, it was stated that you worked as an economist at the Bank of England, the British Embassy in Washington, and latterly at the Halifax Bank of Scotland. But according to your former colleagues, in your actual job, you actually worked in a support department at Scottish Bank, and you sort of helped out with admin and IT, and that's all earned you the nickname of Rachel from Accounts. Did you enhance your CV to make yourself look better qualified to be the Chancellor of the Exchequer if you won the election?
I'm really proud of the jobs that I did before I became a Member of Parliament. I worked at the Bank of England in the international area, working on investment and productivity. I worked as the second Economics Secretary at the British Embassy in Washington. I've done an undergraduate degree in PPE, a master's from the London School of Economics in economics, and then I worked in the private sector, where I worked for Halifax Bank of Scotland, working in Halifax in West Yorkshire and around the country, heading up teams both in the mortgages area and in the retail operations.
Why did you say that you'd worked at the Bank of England for a decade when, in fact, it was... Well, it wasn't even 6 years, it was 5. I mean, that's exaggeration, isn't it?
Well, I worked at the Bank of England for 6 years, between 2000 and 2006. I was employed by the Bank of England, including I spent just over a year at the British Embassy working in the economics section there, supporting the government and the bank.
Why did you say it was a decade?
Well, I think you're taking... it's one interview. I worked at the Bank of England for 6 years. I worked for then at Halifax Bank of Scotland, I think, for 3 years after that. I became an MP when I was 31. But I think in the end, people want to judge me on the job that I'm doing today as Chancellor of the Exchequer. I'm qualified to do this job. But in the end, people are going to judge me. Am I growing the economy? Am I improving their living standards? And I'm determined to do just that.